Hey Artichokes, today we're going to talk about settings in new quizzes. So you can find that over here at the top left. We're going to go ahead and click on that. And we're going to go through all of these one by one. The first one you're going to see is brand new. It's called Shuffle Questions. You can now take your quiz and shuffle all the questions around. So, question one may be something different for someone else, which is really helpful and can deter cheating. It's just one extra little step to build a deterrence for cheating. So when we click that, it does nothing but shuffle the questions. Pretty easy. Now, shuffle answers is still here, like we've always seen before. You do now have that option in the actual question type itself, but if you want to shuffle all the questions universally, you just click on the shuffle answers. Now, if you do shuffle answers to get that lock button in a question, don't worry, you're not overriding anything. That lock will still stay there. This is just a universal shuffle questions. You do still get the ability to show one question at a time and allow for backtracking or not allow for backtracking. So this is a great feature for you if you don't want them to be able to go back and re-answer a question. So that's up to you. It's toggleable by clicking on the checkbox. So if it's checked, it allows them to backtrack. Now you can require an access code, so you can see I've got one here already made called Mr. Blue Sky. This is just a password for the quiz. It's entirely up to you if you want to have an access code or not. They just have to put a password in when they take the quiz if you require an access code. Next is time limit. Nothing's really changing with time limit. It's pretty self-explanatory. But the change that we do have is now we have it separated between hours and minutes. So no longer, if you are going to give a 2-hour quiz, do you have to put in 120 minutes? You can put in 2 hours and then put your minutes in. If you're going to have 0 minutes, it'd be 0, obviously, for 2 hours. But if you want to do 2 hours and 30 minutes, 1 hour and 30 minutes, like I have my example here, you just put 1 hour and 30 minutes. Makes it just a little bit easier. We do have the ability to filter IP addresses still, but if you're going to be using that option, you'll be contacting me and we'll be working with Andre Schall. He's our network admin here at ITS at SCC. So reach out to us if you need that for whatever reason. Next is allowing calculators. Now you did see before we could allow calculators per question, but you can allow a calculator for the whole test if you want to have that available to your students. You do have two options. You have basic and scientific. Entirely up to you. Don't have to have it on if you don't want to. Scrolling down some more, we have allow multiple attempts. This is just like we saw before with a few more options. We can keep the highest score, average score, latest score, or first score, up to you. And we can limit the attempts, or we can have unlimited attempts. So if we do unlimited attempts, it just takes away that how many they get. If we limit our attempts, we can say how many attempts they get. Now, if you do not click on the allow multiple attempts, they will get only one attempt. So be aware of that. And I'm going to pop on over to the left side of the screen really quick so you can see the next one. Next is waiting period. So now you can set up a waiting period between attempts. So if you allow multiple attempts, we're going to do 2 here. I can say that the students have to wait, let's say 4 hours before they can take it again. So Canvas will timestamp everything, obviously, and then it will not let them take it until 4 hours have passed to let them do their second attempt. Entirely up to you, but it's a new feature. Now I'm going to jump back over to the right side really quick. So next is restricting student view. Now these have changed and not for the better in my opinion. So let's take a look at them. So when we restrict our student view, we kind of just go down from top to bottom. So we can show them the points awarded overall and per question. We can show them the possible, which is overall and per question. And then we can show items and questions. So this will show the student response. This will show how they answered. And then we can indicate whether it was correct or incorrect. And then on top of that, we can show show the correct answer with the incorrect response. So let's say that they answered it incorrectly. We'll show them not only that they answered it incorrectly, but what the correct response was. So if you don't want to show that, make sure that's unchecked. But I'm going to show that to unlock the next one. And then we can show item feedback. So if you add feedback to your questions, you can allow them to see the feedback by checking that. So these are all of our question types. Now, the one thing that you'll notice or may not notice, but I want to point out is missing, is we used to be able to show them during a certain time period. We'd have a calendar on there. We could say between this day and this day, they have availability to see that feedback, but after those dates, they're not allowed to see it anymore. That is gone, unfortunately. We're hoping it comes back, but for right now, it is gone. So do know that the restricting the results view has changed. It's actually a lot easier for students to see their response, gives them more, but it takes away the options for you to show the feedback. So you can't be as restrictive on the feedback that they do receive. But that's our settings section in new quizzes. So thanks and have a great day, Artichokes.